haven't done a live in a while, but I am here to give you guys some practical motivation. Not Monday motivation, but some practical steps that you can take about getting better and overcoming some of the notary jitters that you might have. And the one I wanted to talk about specifically about today is one that I keep going back to exactly what I keep saying. I keep going back to the very things that I say, which is, if you're in your area, Google who is the number one notary that comes up in the search results, right? Whatever search term that you search for, notary near me, notary in your city, notary public, mobile notary near me, whatever search term they come up with, whoever pops up first, click that person. Click that person. All right, that's a good person to know. And let me tell you why. I'm going to give you a quick story about why. I've worked with several notaries in my area. But I basically subcontract with these people, right? These are people who either have expired commissions, they are close to being expired commissions, they for some reason can't make it to appointments, so they call me. Why? Because I always answer my phone. I'm always available, right? Or my availability is always on display. So anyway, this person made a mistake. Well, when you work with several notaries and you work with a lot of notaries, what you tend to do, what's going to organically happen is that you're going to pick up on the mistakes that they make. You're going to see some of the holes that they have in their systems and their processes. And this is something that, after working with a few notaries in my area, it was very clear where these people were making these huge mistakes. And let me show you one. So I did a notary for this guy. Put it this way, I got a call and I noticed that this person's number was already in my phone. I was like, wow, May 28th, I contacted this person a month ago. Okay. Turns out that I did a notary for this person who was it was another contract, right? A notary called me and said, can you do a notary in that area? So I said, yeah. I get the notary, got the address, got all the information. I get to the person's house, can't find their house. Again, I was given all the appropriate information. I get to their house and I can't find it. So this is what happened. I had to call the signer and say, hey, can you please confirm your address, such and such and such, Main Street Lane? They're like, yeah, that's it. I say, okay, I can't find it. I drive around a couple more minutes. He's like, oh, you have to drive up the driveway and then you have to look down the stairwell. You follow me on that? Another notary gave me assignment and he gave me the address, did everything correctly, but there was a hole. Follow me on this. I get to the person's house and I couldn't find it. So what I learned from that experience is that when you take somebody's information, get those little small details that they have about where they live. They have gate codes. They have certain parking restrictions on their block. They have just these little quirks about everybody's house. Fast forward to this morning. I get a call and it's the number. It's the number because, again, I called that signer and asked him, where was your house? This guy's number. He goes, hey, I need a notary, for a few documents this morning. Are you available? I'll go right into the script. All right, you live in Oakland? Yeah, okay. Yeah, live in the Oakland Hills. Okay. And are you going to be signing this document? He's like, no, it's my wife. I said, okay. Can you confirm your wife has an ID card? She goes, yep, got an ID card. All right, good. I'll send you a link to my schedule. Pick a time. And because he needed it in a short amount of time, I sent him a link. It was two signatures, $99, right? The price doesn't matter. The price doesn't matter. What matters is that you can come and do it. That's all that matters. They're getting ready to travel out of town. They need these documents signed so they can get on a flight. Doesn't matter about the price. So, but what I'm saying is that it was the guy's house. This is probably what happened. He called the other notary. Notary didn't answer the phone. He probably then Googled or he probably went online or did something, right? And he searched for a notary. I don't know how many people he called. I don't know if he called 15 or 16 different people. Eventually, he got to me. That's all that matters. Eventually, he got to me. And when he got to me, I included the information. Well, from the very first time, I learned, ask if there's any additional details that they're signing go faster, right? If there's something about the parking, something about you have a big dog, you have gate codes, you have a narrow driveway, it's a one-way street, just anything. And I remembered as I'm pulling up to his house, he lives in this little tucked away area, and you have to go down the stairs. I was like, oh, I remember this area. Really nice neighborhood, very unique architecture in this part of town, in this particular neighborhood. So, but this all came from the very first time that I worked with the notary previously, a month ago, who forgot to mention that this guy's house has this unique entryway, and it was actually a result of me being late. I was late. And I have to call him again. He's like, oh, no, people get lost, no problem. But that's a mistake that you could completely avoid by asking the right question in your intake form. And it always comes from working with other notaries. I always notice these things. So people ask me, well, how did he get so good so fast? It's not so much that I got good. I don't even think you can be great at notary. You only do one thing. All right. You only sign, you only stamp. What makes you great is that you make yourself accessible. You make yourself available. And you don't necessarily have to be available 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, right? We already understand that that's not true. That's a lie when you say that, right? You're not available 365 days, but you have to demonstrate or convey to your signers that you are available and when you are available. And that's what I've been able to accomplish. I've been pretty good at displaying that information. So that is the difference. That is, in fact, what makes not just, I really don't believe that there are good notaries and great notaries, right? The type of service you provide can be great and outstanding and fantastic. But as far as getting a signing and stamping and that's straightforward. That's easy. You can do that. But how do you make yourself great, or how do you make yourself more available? And how do you learn from some of these other mistakes that other people, or you catch these holes that people have in their game? And by working with more notaries, Google the top notary in your area and call that person. Don't avoid them. They're doing something right. So get to know that person. And that's exactly what I did when I first started. I wasn't getting any assignments, wasn't getting any appointments. I thought they were just going to pour into my lap. Wrong. So what I did was I started Googling other notaries and just straight hitting them up. Oh, yeah, you do business on this side of town? Yep, so do I. I'll be happy to take on some appointments. That way you can take the day off, or you can take on more assignments and let me get that one. Sounds silly, right? Yeah. Yeah, it does sound silly, but guarantee it works. Who wouldn't want you to help them? You may say, oh, notaries in my area are selfish. They don't want to help me. That's what you think. Try it. Google the person who's in your area, number one, different search terms, call them up. All right. And I did that 2 years ago. And I basically you accelerated your progress by seeing what happens when other people make holes, make mistakes. All right. I just came on to say that quick little tip, that story. And this stuff happens every single day. You notice these things when you work with other people. You see what they did or how they're doing something. You're like, I can do that a little bit better. I'll give you another example. You know what? This is already getting too long. But you know what? I'm going to have an email list that's going to be available shortly. You'll see a post about it soon. I'm going to give you more notary business tips, more insights, and more ways to, more problems that I've experienced and that I am currently experiencing, and how I'm overcoming those things, and what I did to overcome, and how automation fit into that problem-solving equation. All right. Stay tuned, guys. Thanks for coming up. Looks like we got a request here. I might go. I was just about to get off, but let's see what we can do. You still there? Man, Griff. Smells like weed. Griff, I'm in California, man. It smells like marijuana here, so I don't know about where it is for you guys.
All right, man. I'll be keeping an eye on your eyes, see if they start getting red. What's going on?
I just opened up my car door. I'm gonna close it now. I just opened up my car door. I was like, wow, good morning.
Yeah. Well, look, man, I just happened to catch you. I was in between signings, and I had to do an online deposition. I'm an e-notary, so this one company hit me up about back in September last year, and they have me doing online depositions. I just sit there and listen to court cases and make like $25 to $50 an hour doing that. So one of the things, like you're saying, is just being available. But when it comes, especially to me in that general notary work, you really got to be available. And I just did a last will and testament yesterday, which was Sunday. A lot of notaries are like, nah, I'm not going to do that on a Sunday. I'm not going to do this. Well, they contacted me because I got a verbal agreement with a lawyer here. And some years ago, I had to file bankruptcy. And then after that, I wound up doing her loan closing for her and her husband. So when I was sitting there, she was like, wait a minute, I remember you. I'm like, yeah, because I was a little nervous about, mentioning, because I didn't want to, like mix business and all of that. And she said, no, I remember you and your wife. And she said, so you must be doing pretty good with this. I said, yeah. She said, I got lawyers who tell me they make a lot of money doing notary stuff and with real estate. I said, yeah, it's a lot in there. She said, well, and this is at the beginning of the pandemic. She said, well, can you notarize other documents? I said, of course I can. She said, good, because my office is basically shut down and all of our wills and power of attorneys, we don't have notaries to send them to. I said, send them my way. I said, I can do them online or in person. So she's been sending me work like crazy. And once I get with the client, they're like, okay, well, can you come at this time? And I'm like, sure. I make sure I make sure my schedule, I can do it. Now, one of the things that notaries got to do, you got to pay attention to the environment and the situation that you're dealing with when you're trying to schedule. So when the lady called me, the daughter called me for this 90-year-old lady, and I said, when do you want it? She said, would like to get it done as soon as possible. I said, well, Friday today, I can't do it because I'm completely booked. And she was like, well, tomorrow's my mother's birthday. And I said, well, don't worry about it. I figured y'all going to be having a little party and throwing down so we can get together Sunday. And she was like, you was reading my mind, because think of it. If you know they're talking about having some kind of family event or whatever, you do not